we'll stand right here. And
Let's stand right here, y'all.
Stand over here. Make sure we get our group together, man.
We already in. We going in. Let's stand here. What? Yeah? Oh my God.
She fine, so she not running for answer.
We out here, man. We out here. Y'all see what we doing, man. Well, we see what we doing, you know.
And it's almost 11 o'clock, so the speakers should be getting
you
going
see
pretty
Brother
soon.
Cal in the building, fresh off of that 22. He's out here. You know what I mean? Oh, that's a nice mask, bro. Man, that's a real nice joint. Y'all see the big fella. He's back in the building. Y'all sing. Here it is. And Brown's in the building. We bought the whole clip.
All right, just swarms. Throngs of people swarming towards the Lincoln Memorial. Hey Barb, I lost Rhett and my friend Bobby. If you wanted to shoot Rhett a message for me, I'm gonna turn my walkie-talkie on and see if we have a little bit more luck with the walkies today. Got y'all on hat cam right now. Actually works pretty good. I don't know what sort of view you got. Probably a lot of trees. Robbie the Rat, come in, Robbie the Rat. Oh, very good. Just checking in, seeing if your walkie's on. I'm walking down, I'm about like halfway down the, what do we call it, a pond?
Yeah, I'm actually at the front of the pond. I got too close to the stage and I lost all connection, so I tried to go for a run. And got my camera, so I got the live stream back up.
Okay, copy that. With that in mind, I might hang back to the back of the crowd and try to find a speaker, and then maybe I won't get caught up in the feed disruption. Sorry, say that again?
You have good service. It might make sense to get closer up here because I'm not doing very well with service at all.
Oh, gotcha. My impression was that because there's so many people over there, that's why there's like a feed service disruption.
Yeah, exactly. So it might make more sense to get further back.
Yeah, I'll fill it out and see how the phone acts.
Well, I'm going to keep on moving back until I get a decent service.
Cool, copy that. Yeah, keep me posted on where the ring's at.
I'll do over now.
Over. Oh, is my buddy Bobby still with you by any chance?
Yeah, he's right next to me.
Cool, copy that. Over and out. I got trapped behind a fence. But what the viewers at home might not know is that I have very long legs. Made it. Me too, Tonya. Thank you so much for all your help.
Cool. Let's grab it.
Correspondent for Reach Media, serving as a contributor to the Al Sharpton Show on WL 1450 AM and Sirius XM 126 from 1 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Because of her dedication to the community and lifetime
I want to quote some of the words from the late John Lewis that he said in 1963. He said, "My friends, let us not forget that we are involved in a serious social revolution. By and large, American politics is dominated by politicians who build their careers on immoral compromises and ally themselves with open forms of political, economic, and social exploitation." And I'm going to ask the same question that he asked there, which is, where political party that will make it unnecessary for us to keep having to march on Washington.
Nice, thanks, Kenny. Appreciate that big time. Share far and wide.
She's a 2019 graduate from Marjorie.
This is one of the biggest moments of our 21st century American history.
2018. She was in the third classroom with gunfighting gunmen who would go on to murder 17 students and staff. Since then, Alea has stepped up to speak out on gun violence in America and remain vocal around chronic gun violence that affects young African Americans daily, to include testifying before a Senate and House Judiciary Committee. She's a nonprofit organizer as well as a co-organizer and co-founder of Concerned Citizens DC, a group that not only has consistently organized protests in DC, but also developed a list of federal and local demands that would save Black lives. Please welcome Alea Eastman.
I am one of the millions of young Black women who make up the backbone of the American progressive movement. Like too many of us, my journey of activism started by a senseless act of gun violence when a fellow student opened fire in my classroom in Parkland, Florida. As I laid beneath the lifeless body of my classmate Nicholas Torres to survive, as bullets riddled my classmates, as my screams melted into the cries of the wounded, I was then born again with a voice that cannot and will not be muzzled. While the details of my story may be different from other impacted youth, my brush of death by a gun is an experience that is shared by too many of our generation. I am not the first in my family to be affected by gun violence. My Uncle Patrick was gunned down in the streets of Brooklyn, New York at the age of 18, just months after being beaten by NYPD, who deemed his Black body in a white neighborhood a threat. Gun violence is pervasive and extends well beyond high-profile mass shootings. This violence is not inherent or a coincidence. It is a result of poor choices made by policymakers that all too often have racial undertones associated with it. The flow of guns into already struggling communities is often facilitated by white gun store owners who look the other way as traffickers buy guns used to terrorize Black communities. Gun violence extends beyond the path of a bullet and creates multi-generational cycles of poverty as well as social and economic injustices. Law enforcement has for years failed to prevent the flow of guns into Black communities as well as perpetuated violence in these communities themselves. Studies show that persistent gun violence in poor communities of color directly results from centuries of entrenched disadvantages, economic deprivation, and racist policymaking. In many ways, gun violence is the last domino to fall at the end of a long line of racism, trauma, and indifference. But this is not inevitable. Community-based intervention programs throughout the country have proven that holistic, culturally sensitive, embedded teams can stop violence before it starts. We demand funding for these programs. We've seen the shooting from our high school gain worldwide
This young lady
attention.
speaking truth
But
to
the mass
power right
shooting that
here.
happened in Southeast DC 3 weeks ago, where
God bless the
17-year-old
youth.
Christopher Brown lost his life and 20 people were wounded, got no attention. Be outraged equally for Black lives. It's important that as I talk about gun violence, I address police violence. We must shift from a punitive to a rehabilitative model in the prison system. There is a need for a national conversation of defunding police departments and refunding our communities instead. We must reallocate those funds into schools, jobs, and needs for a comfortable life. We need to revisit the use force practices and eliminate conduct that places suspects at extreme harm once in custody. As has been established, officers nationwide lack accountability. For an officer who knows that he can kill an unarmed Black man or woman and only get paid death duty as an assault, anything less than that is business as usual.
Oh, it was supposed to.
We demand to live in spaces where the best of Black culture can thrive, where Black men are more likely to have a mortgage and a picket fence than a record, where Black women are business executives and vice presidents, where our
I can't speak for everyone, Kenny, but I'm definitely left-leaning. I consider myself a progressive. But like a progressive libertarian, even though that doesn't make sense. But I won't speak for anybody else with our crew. We try to like do our best not to present the facts and to allow people to come to their own opinions about what's happening. But I mean, non-bias just doesn't really exist. And I'll be honest, I'm biased as all hell. And yeah, sometimes I can see, you know, I can see how both sides look at the same set of facts and come to vastly different conclusions from them. I just end up usually concluding on the left side of things.
Yeah, there's some chunks in here that maybe grew up on the wall.
Like, I personally am for defunding the police and reinvesting into black communities to eliminate crime at its roots, which is systemic oppression and lack of resources in communities.
Re-elected in 2012, 2015, and 2018. King has served on the UPS Supplement Negotiation Committee, the Philadelphia Metro Area, and the National Master Freight Supplement Panel. Please welcome Marcus W. King.
Good morning. Thank you, Reverend Al Sharpton, Martin Luther King Jr. III, and the National Action Network for assembling us here today. This is an awesome event. Brothers and sisters, good morning. It's an honor to be with you. As the young lady just said, my name is Marcus King. I'm the director for the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Human Rights and Diversity Commission. And I bring you greetings on behalf of my General President, James B. Hoffman. The Teamsters Union have a long history of standing not only for members, but who have been discriminated over and overlooked. For 57 years after the first March on Washington, the Teamsters have again stand with you proud to reaffirm our support for racial and economic equality in this country. The Teamsters brothers and sisters, black, white, men, there are forces out there working against us to dismantle the union and labor laws.
We're at a limited capacity.
They have circumvented civil rights laws in our courts. They have manipulated our election to try to block our vote. They have denied this job promotion because of the color of our skin. They have stolen wages from us by perpetuating minimum wage standards that no one can survive on. Yes, they even are going after labor unions. They have tried to systematically strip away the voice to protect workers as we fight for fair wages, equal pay, good health care, and a decent pension for retirement. And now they're trying to separate American labor by putting a gap between
I'm not a biker because I don't own one yet, but I did get my motorcycle license last fall. Just can't afford the motorcycle yet. But I'd also probably get an old school Honda or something along those lines.
We must vote. This coming November, we must vote. We have to tell this country, take the knee off our necks. Use your
But that's where my libertarian values come in, because I totally believe in gun ownership.
Make your voice count. Jacob Plain. My name is Marcus King, and I'm the Teachers International Union. Thank you.
Yeah, just a little putt-putt.
Next we have Alan Roscoe, proudly co-authored the nation's first gay rights bill in 1970 and served as its chief lobbyist in 2004. Citywide LGBTQ
Nice.
serving all of New York. Right in the shade. As Al Sharpton's ambassador to the gay community in the 80s, and he currently serves as secretary of the Civil Rights Museum, built in Harlem, New York, under the leadership of Reverend Al Sharpton.
Bam.
Let's give him a round
Mic
of applause.
drop.
I'm here to tell everybody that the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community is part of this struggle. We fought with Black Lives Matter. We marched. We get arrested. We risk arrest, and we get brutalized in support. After all, the gay rights movement was formed because of brutality of the police in a bar known as Stonewall. Until the black community is recognized as
Stonewall riots, infamously led by black women and femmes.
the police belittlement, the police shootings, and the police killings, we will stand united. We are all one. We want you to know that we will continue demonstrating. We will continue marching. We will continue to protest. We will continue to upset the power structure. We will continue to risk arrest. We will continue to be arrested. We will be part of this movement, and in all the demonstrations and across the country, you can see our rainbow flags and our rainbow banners. Black Lives Matter is one of the most important organizations and movements, one of the most important movements in this country and in history. I thank you all. I thank Reverend Al Sharpton and the National Action Network for putting this together and being such a good friend to the LGBT community. Together to victory and vote out the racist
Up next,
Gilbert Godfrey.
Minnie Sensibar.
He sounded like Gilbert Gottfried.
That's right. Joined by fellow activist Sandy Solo. He is a Black Lives Matter protester, activist, and lead organizer for the 2020 Walk from Milwaukee.
Yeah!
Solidarity with the National March on Washington. Please welcome Frank Nitty Sinsbaugh.
Oh, who was saying? There he is. Frank Nitty's taking the mic.
We just watched his march. We followed him when he did his
I'm here with activist Frank Nitty in Toronto. We took a 750-mile trek across the country to get here. I'll let Frank speak on some of the things we faced on this journey. But I'd like to thank all our Facebook friends who cashed out
Hey, fuck it, guys. I'm just gonna turn this off. Go back to bed. You guys can watch the shit on the news, I'm sure. Let's be realistic. You guys just want to watch people hurt each other. You don't even want protests. You just want violence. And I'm okay with that. So, goodbye.